Hey, so we finally got some more news on Demeter and the Golden Pack, so let's check it out together. So there's two places they dropped news today. One was on the news page, which is what we're currently looking at, and then they released an image on the store page. So we'll go look at that later. Take a look at her portrait. She looks very bitter, which makes sense given what happens to her in the lore of Greek mythology. But don't let me tell you, they actually do you the justice of writing it right here for you to read for yourself. But the summary of that is Hades gets lonely and wants to get a wife, so he kidnaps Demeter's daughter. Because of this, she only gets to see her daughter 6 months a year, and those 6 months of the year she can't see her daughter, she gets bitter and forgets to do her job of maintaining spring, so that's why winter exists in the Greek mythology. We are going to skip over the fact that Hades is actually her brother, so he just kidnapped his niece and married her. But yeah, surprisingly for her archaic age power, she has a destructive power instead of a constructive one. The constructive one would be like Shennon, which gives you blessed farms. But no, she actually destroys other people's stuff. Makes sense that despite this, she's the goddess of the harvest, she still has a very bitter backstory. You can see sirens in their backstory here too. In case you didn't know, sirens were creatures that sung songs to sailors and promised things they want to get them get off their ship, where they would finish off the weary travelers who were just wanting a taste of home. If I had to guess, this would be the myth unit of Phone, who would be the classical age pick for her. And if I had to guess, her other classical age pick would be Athena. Phone, of course, being her daughter that is kidnapped by Hades and forced to marry him. I'm going to put a recreation of what I think the wither power will look like. It's going to be very shabby, but I hope that it helps you guys visualize what it'll be like. Of course, I don't know the range that they're going to allow it to be. But I could definitely see some crazy uses of this, such as, just disabling your opponent's food early game at 1v1, or getting your way through Ironwood or any other tree-heavy map. Some people were expecting harpies, but I was kind of scared how that worked because harpies are already in the game as a visual thing for maps such as Erebus. So putting them there would kind of cause some confusion as to, whose harpy is that. All right, so moving on to the Ultimate Fan Pack here, they kind of give us a preview of what it looks like for Demeter in specific, but by showing this, we can kind of come to expect what it will look like overall. Based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like they're just going to give us golden statues of each pantheon. In case you didn't know, what statue is in your town center and temple changes based on who you're playing. So that's why they have such an emphasis on changing the look of your town centers and temples. I'm going to go ahead and show what I'm talking about on screen here. You can see that each pantheon you play as has a unique type of temple, but even amongst which character you choose will have a different looking statue. Which makes me wonder how they're going to do Norse here, because Norse is a wooden one, so are they just going to paint gold over the wood? But we'll find that out soon enough. They did also say something about new Pantheon icons. I'm not sure what that's about, but I feel like it was new portraits. They would have used the word portraits. Maybe there's still a surprise left for us for the most part. But yeah, at first I was shocked that it wasn't more, because the way they originally described it sounded like they were going to paint your entire town center in gold. But now that I think about it, I'm down with the idea because having your whole entire town center be gold would be kind of visually obstructive to gameplay. Also, looking at the other parts of the DLC here, it seems like nothing new was announced. We all knew all of this already from the original post, so let's move on to the image on the Steam store page that shows more of Demeter's stuff. There was a little teaser of the blood and bone pack shown, but all it was just a red skull. I'll show it on screen, but I don't think there was anything of significance there. Alright, moving on to the fancy Steam store page where you can pre-order it for 15% off until the first item comes out. You can see a bunch of things here, including the two myth units, probably from the heroic and mythic age. I'll go ahead and zoom in real quick. Let me change that. There, much better. We can see a werewolf, which is a thing in Greek mythology for sure, and a sort of tree-looking person. Interestingly, there's a Greek flying hero here, so that's gonna be funny to see how that works. You can definitely get a lot of micro value out of her dodging if she's able to be unlocked in the early age, because in the early age you don't have the access to upgrade that makes your archers actually fire their shots better. The werewolf looks like it can have a line upgrade of some sort, like how other creatures can have upgrades, such as the Colossus. Because it's wearing armor, I can see that armor definitely upgrading. And then the Forest Lady, I'm not sure what to make of it because we already have dryads in the game in the form of the Atlantean creature that comes from the Heraspedis tree, so maybe this is a different type of nymph? Maybe the mountain one? I think they're called Orestiads or something. I'll put their name on screen so you don't make fun of me. And then, that also begs the question, since Demeter's power says it destroys plants alongside trees and berries. I wonder if it destroys the Dryad tree or the Hairspace tree or the Japanese respawn tree. We'll have to see how that works. I'll confirm it day one if I can. And then there's this building over here. Could be related to Hestia, which is the goddess of warmth or something. I'm gonna put it on screen. Please don't make fun of me. It is glowing. I wonder if that makes it a hero, the first ever hero building in the game. That'd be so funny. You know how the Greeks are the only one with a hero ship. So yeah, of course, though, it could just be glowing for the effect, and I'm just badly misinformed. I checked the Greek villager, and they do have two empty slots, so maybe these two buildings go in those empty slots. I will show you on screen. Please let me know if these are actually buildings that are already in the game, and I'm badly misinformed. And I'll pin it in the comments and apologize. But besides that, nothing seems too off about this picture. Maybe this is a new random map? No, that's probably not it, because Freyr didn't come with one. So maybe this is just the scenario, since Freyr came with a scenario as well. A mythic battle is what it's called, I believe. It's at the bottom of the campaign page. A lot of people miss it. Um, Actually, now that I'm looking closer, I noticed one interesting thing is that she has yellow farms, like wheat farms, while all the rest of the Greeks have berry farms where they're farmed. This is similar to how the Asian farms are also yellow. So I'm wondering if she uses the same farms as the Asians or her own unique farm as opposed to the other pantheons using the standard farms. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, now I'm out of things to observe. So you guys got anything else? Talk about it in the comments. I will try to pin important things or update the description accordingly. On the Steam store page, it says this will unlock on February 10th, so maybe I'll go back then and see you guys there, and I'll be able to check it out. But you know, things could change, so don't expect it too much. And then all the first three parts of the DLC with this, the golden stuff, and the blood stuff is said to come out by March. While on the other hand, the Aztec DLC will come out by June at the latest. So yeah, in the original blog post, they did say here's a look into what will be coming in the first half of 2026. But in case anyone needed confirmation, yep, all the content's going to be out by June. Of course, that still leaves the possibility of delays, but I trust Age of Mythology, and I also left the post in the Age of Empires forum for us to talk about what kind of animals and other things you would like to see for the upcoming Aztec DLC. You know, the environmental stuff, the aesthetics. Feel free to comment on that, and then maybe I'll have enough comments I can make a video discussing that. You know, but besides that, I am working on my Dev Diary episode 2, where I work on a random map script for Age of Mythology, where I make my own unique map as a continuation of my already existing mod. And yeah, if you want to check that out, feel free to. If not, I don't blame you. But hopefully that will be out by Sunday. Anyways, thanks for watching. See ya.